Hello everyone, welcome to Medholic. Today we are discussing about the important questions and answers of the chapter Emulsion. Here we have the questions. The first one is describe the stability problems in emulsion. The second one, define emulsions, explain different type of emulsions and how will you distinguish them. The third one, discuss various methods used for the preparation of emulsions. Fourth question, explain advantages of emulsion and classification of emulsions. The fifth and final question, explain emulsifying agents. Moving to the first question, describe the stability problems in emulsions. During the storage of emulsion, mainly three changes occurs which affects the stability of the emulsion. The first one is cracking. So what do you mean by cracking? Cracking means the separation of two layers of disperse and continuous phase due to coalescence of disperse phase globules which are difficult to redisperse by shaking. Here we all know that emulsion has two different phases, continuous phase and disperse phase. If emulsion gets separated into two different layers, that is upper oily layer and downward aqueous layer, then it is called as cracking. And why the separation occurs? It is due to the coalescence of disperse phase globules. Coalescence. What does the term indicates? Coalescence means merging of two substances to become a larger one. Here, the small old globules merge together and become a larger old globules. And these larger globules make the upper layer. At the same time, aqueous layer occupies the downward position. Also, cracking is irreversible. That means it cannot be redispersed into stable form by shaking. It remains as such. Here we discussed about the definition of cracking. Next, we are going to discuss about the reasons of cracking. The first one, cracking occurs by microorganisms. When the emulsion is not stored properly. Okay, so when the emulsion, if we do not store the emulsion properly, they may develop bacterial or mold growth, which leads to the destruction of emulsifying agent and then leads to cracking. When the emulsifying agent of an emulsion get destroyed, it may lead to several stability problems. Likewise, here the emulsifying agent get destroyed by microorganisms, which leads to cracking. The second one is changes in temperature. If the temperature of emulsion gets changed, like if it becomes higher, that is when the temperature increases, the viscosity of the emulsion decreases. When the viscosity reduces, there occurs separation of the layers of the emulsion, which ultimately leads to cracking. And if the temperature decreases, the water content in the emulsion gets freezed and leads to cracking. Third one is by the addition of emulsifying agent of the opposite type. If we add the emulsifying agent which is of opposite type, it may also lead to cracking. The fourth one is a decomposition. Is the decomposition of emulsifying agent. If the emulsifying agent of an emulsion get destroyed, it may also lead to cracking. And the final one is by creaming. If an emulsion is more creamy, if the emulsion appears to be more creamy, it is also more liable to crack. Okay, so here we have discussed about the definition and major reasons of cracking. And next, we are moving to second stability problem, that is creaming. So, what do you mean by creaming? Creaming may be defined as the upward movement of dispersed globules to form a thicker layer at the surface of emulsion. Creaming also leads to cracking. We have already discussed this point that creaming is a reason for cracking. So, coming back to creaming, creaming is the upward movement. Okay, it is the upward movement of the dispersed globules. That is, all globules move upward and form a thicker layer at the upper surface. Okay, so in creaming, what happens? The old globules move to the upper side and make a layer, a thick layer. Here, creaming is irreversible. That is, it can be redistributed by shaking. If creaming occurs to emulsion, Also, we can make it stable by shaking it. Okay, if creaming occurs to the emulsion, also we can make it stable by shaking it, mildly shaking it, or by agitation, etc. So remember, the main difference between cracking and creaming is that cracking is irreversible, whereas creaming is reversible. So don't forget the point. And according to Stokes' law, we can find out the rate of creaming. I hope you can see the equation on the screen. Try to learn it. Here, from the equation, V is the rate of creaming, where R is the radius of globules, D1 is the density of dispersed phase, and D2 is the density of continuous phase. And next, about the type of creaming. The first one is upward creaming, which occurs in oil in water type of emulsion, and the second one is downward creaming, which occurs in water in oil type of emulsion. Here you can see the picture representation of creaming, cracking, and the stable emulsion. In the stable emulsion, you can see the minute globules is dispersed in the continuous phase. The blue circles indicate the globules and the red area indicates the continuous phase. At the same time, in cracking, as you can see, the globules move to the upward position and forms a thicker layer. Whereas in cracking, you can see two different layers. Okay, so moving to the third stability problem, that is phase inversion. Phase inversion means the interconversion between emulsions. That means change of one emulsion into another. Here, oil in water type of emulsion gets changed to water in oil type of emulsion, and water in oil type of emulsion changes to oil in water type emulsion. So what are the reasons of phase inversion? The first one is addition of electrolyte. Okay, the first reason for phase inversion is the addition of electrolyte. The second one, changing phase volume ratio. The third reason, changes in temperature. The fourth one is changing the emulsifying agent. It can be minimized by the following way. The first one, by using proper emulsifying agent, and the second one, keeping the concentration of dispersed phase between 30 to 60 percentage, and the third, storing emulsion in cool place. So that's all about the phase inversion. Here we have discussed the major stability problems of emulsion, that is creaming, cracking, and phase inversion. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.